Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Today I want to talk to you guys about E3 2016. E3 is one of my favorite times of year. It's up there with Christmas and Thanksgiving and food-related holidays. E3 to me is a holiday season in itself. It's a time when we get to see what our favorite gaming companies and game developers and system developers are bringing for us. And this generation of E3 conferences, starting in about 2012, 2013, 2013 mainly, but 2012 is when the rumors started. This generation has been incredible. I want to say this is probably the best set of E3s we've ever had. And 2016 is proving to be a really pivotal E3. What I want to start off doing is I have a lot of notes here. I want to go year by year, and I want to talk about what we have seen, sort of give you the story so far of E3 starting in 2013. Let's get to it. Okay, so starting off in 2013, I'm actually going to go a little bit before E3 2013 because both Sony and Microsoft had their own press conferences to reveal the new systems, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So on February 20th, 2013, we got the See the Future event from Sony, and this was the PlayStation 4 reveal event, although we didn't actually get to see the system at this point. So I'm going to run down a list of what we saw at this press conference. We got a talk from Andrew House, who introduced the system. We got a talk from Mark Cerny, who talked about the x86 architecture. He gave us a first glimpse at the DualShock 4. He told us we could play, as we're downloading games purchased from the PlayStation Network store, we could play them as they load after they load up a certain amount of data. The PlayStation 4 share button was talked about and how you could share screenshots and video. They talked about the new PlayStation camera. We got an Unreal Engine 4 demo about a quarter of the way through. We got a Havoc engine demo. We got Mark Cerny's new game, Knack. We got a reveal trailer for that. We were also shown the social network integration in which we could have real names on the PlayStation Friends list if you wanted. Then we had David Perry from Gaikai Game. He came on, talked about live streaming from the console through Ustream. No Twitch integration just yet. Controller takeover through the menu. Remote play on Vita. PlayStation Now, which they coined as everything everywhere, although we didn't get too much information on that at that time. After that, we had Michael Denny from Worldwide Studios. He introduced Herman Hulst from Guerrilla Games, and that's 47 minutes into this press conference is when we got our first actual gameplay reveal, not including the Knack trailer, which wasn't clear if it was gameplay or not. We saw Killzone Shadowfall gameplay demo. Then we had Matt Southern from Evolution Studios showing us Drive Club with the trailer. Then we had Nate Fox from Sucker Punch Productions showing his infamous Second Son. Then we had an indie self-publishing showcase. We had Jonathan Blow, who gave us The Witness, which I just finished and is incredible. Then we had David Cage from Quantic Dream talking about shaders and engines and talking about Beyond Two Souls. Alex Evans from Media Molecule revealing Dreams. Andrew House came back on and introduced Yoshinori Ono from Capcom. He talked about a new engine called Phanta Ray and Deep Down, which is a game that, for all we know, might be being rebooted on the PlayStation 4K this year. Hopefully we find out more. Then we had Yoshihisa Hashimoto from Square Enix talking about an engine demo. And then he introduced Shinji Hashimoto from the Final Fantasy team. He told us that we're working on a Final Fantasy title in development. Please be excited for E3. Typical Japanese marketing, please be excited. Then we had Yves Guillemot from Ubisoft debuting Watch Dogs. Then we had Chris Metzen from Blizzard, who gave us this famous Take Over the World comment.
I'm very pleased to share with you all that Blizzard and Sony have entered into a strategic partnership through which we will take over the world.
He revealed Diablo 3 on consoles. We had Eric Hirschberg from Activision talking to us about Destiny. And then at the end, we were told that it would have a holiday 2013 release window. So that was February of 2013, 4 months before E3. Now, up until this point, there were a lot of rumors surrounding the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Would we be able to play used games was a huge point of contention. Would it be always online? Could we have offline games? What would the cloud be doing? Cloud computing was a really big buzzword at that point. And we learned a lot from the Xbox One reveal conference, which was held on May 21st, 2013. So in this 1 hour conference, now mind you, PlayStation's reveal conference was 2 hours, so they had to sell the hell out of this thing within an hour. And this was only a couple of weeks before E3 2013. So they had kind of 2 conferences in a 3-week window. It was very weird. Don Mattrick comes out on stage at the beginning, tells us the Xbox 360 is the leader in sales worldwide for consoles. They're developing an all-in-one system. And then they showed us the console. And this gave Microsoft a bit of a leg up because it was like, hey, here's this console. except it looked really weird. This is just my opinion. Obviously, like, I don't speak for the industry as a whole or anything like that. I'm not even really part of the industry, but it looked like a giant VCR. It was not a pretty system. So they show the console, and it's shown with the Kinect and a controller, and it's all the marketing around it, like all the, tech videos show the Kinect. So after Don Matrick shows us the console, Yusuf Mehdi comes on and he starts talking about the all-in-one experience. And then he gives this very lengthy demo of the Kinect, showing some really, really neat features. Xbox One, Xbox Game, Xbox TV, telling the Xbox on stage, for all we know is a live demo, what to do, and through voice commands. And that was really, really cool. I actually really enjoyed that demo. I thought it was really cool, especially with the pinch and the grabbing of the screen and creating tiles all over the place. Really, really sick stuff. Yusuf also started talking about Xbox's integration with fantasy basketball and ESPN. And this is cool. I mean, I get it. Sports games are a huge market for these consoles. They are system sellers. They move a lot of units. But I felt like at this point, they shouldn't be like doubling down on that stuff just yet. Like, show us the console, show us what it can do. Although this is something that it can do, but cater to the masses here. Don't just like start talking about TV integration. It was very strange how they were like structuring this conference to me. So after Yusuf finishes talking, Mark Whitten comes on and he starts talking about how to play and how you're entertained through console gaming. He starts talking about the console, the Kinect, and the controller. Tells us it has 8 gigs of RAM, it's a 64-bit architecture, 500 gigabyte internal hard drive, and the Kinect is included with every single Xbox One. So after Mark talks about a bit more of the tech specs in Xbox Live and the Smart Glass, Andrew Wilson from EA Sports comes on, and he starts talking about FIFA, Madden, UFC, and the new NBA games. So after he talks a bit about the tech specs and how these games will look the best on Xbox One, you'll have the best experience on Xbox One, we get our first gameplay reveal at 33 minutes into this conference. That's just over halfway through. If you compare this to the Sony conference back in February, they showed their first reveal about 45, 46 minutes into the conference. But that was a 2-hour conference. So about a third of the way through is when they first show their real gameplay reveal. So after the first gameplay reveal, Phil Spencer comes on stage and he starts talking about Forza Motorsport 5, which will come out with the console at launch. And he also talks about Quantum Break from Remedy Entertainment. This, however, marks the turning point for the press conference. After Phil Spencer, Nancy Tellem from Xbox Entertainment Studios comes on, and she starts talking about the television integration, which we've already heard a fair bit about from Yusuf Mehdi earlier. So it was very clear to me at this point that they weren't going to be talking a whole lot about games, really just how the console will become an integral part of your living room, and it felt much less like a gaming console and more like an entertainment unit. So I could kind of understand why they didn't want to talk so much about this sort of stuff at E3, but it still felt a little weird considering that the Xbox has always been a gaming console first, and then entertainment, further down the line. So Nancy introduces Bonnie Ross from 343 Studios, who then talks about a live-action Halo television series co-produced with Steven Spielberg. I still don't think this has even happened, and I kind of doubt it's happening at this point because Halo 5, it's June 6, 2016 right now. Halo 5 has been out for a really long time, and the Halo hype is kind of over, so I'd be surprised if it still happens at all. So after Bonnie, we hear a bit more about football on Xbox One, football TV on Xbox One. And then we hear back again from Don Matrick, who tells us Xbox One will be coming out later this year in 2013. E3 is in 2 more weeks, so we'll hear way more about it then. And then we get the one last thing, the crunch, is Call of Duty Ghosts. And somebody from Activision, Eric Hirschberg, comes on, tells us a bit about that, gives us a reveal trailer, and the conference ends. So at this point, it's the very beginning of June, and we have the PlayStation 4 revealed. We still haven't seen it, but we got a pretty good idea of the gameplay prowess of this console. We've gotten a few engine demos, we've seen some gameplay, not a ton, but it seemed like Sony was kind of just holding back for E3, whereas on the other hand, we had Microsoft having their own reveal event 2 weeks before E3, debuting the console, not yet giving a price point, neither of them had given a price point yet, showing the console, but kind of promoting it as an entertainment machine and not so much a gaming machine. So they were kind of on opposite sides of the same playing field, but Microsoft seemed to be moving somewhere else, and it felt very, very strange. So now it's June 10th, 2013, and it's time for E3's press conferences. So in the interest of time, I'm simply just going to rattle off what happened at these 2 press conferences that day. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's 3 years ago. We sort of see how everything panned out already, but I just want to give you an idea of what was shown at each conference, and then I'll talk a bit about it at the end. So, starting with the Microsoft press conference, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, June 10th, 2013. The Xbox One press conference started off with a bang with Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain gameplay reveal. We had Don Matrick and Hideo Kojima on stage, Don talking about 13 next-generation titles coming to Xbox One. We had Yusuf Mehdi again talking about Xbox 360, the updated 360 design. This was the third revision. It would be available that day. Xbox Live Gold now gets 2 free games per month, with Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3 being the first. Hundreds of new games coming to Xbox 360, like World of Tanks. And then we had Press Play with Max the Curse of Brotherhood. And we had From Software with Dark Souls 2. We had Phil Spencer talking about Rives, Son of Rome with a very lengthy gameplay reveal trailer. Somebody from Crytek on stage. Phil Spencer came back talking about Killer Instinct, which I think was the reveal, but it just kind of slipped in there and slipped out. It's very weird. Then we had Ted Price from Insomniac talking about Sunset Overdrive with a reveal trailer. We had the Forza McLaren trailer with the McLaren car reveal on stage, and they would do this again in a future E3 conference. Then we had Dan Greenwalt from Turn 10 talking about Forza running on Xbox One, power of the cloud processing, a live stage demo. He showed off the Drivatar, which plays when you're not actually playing. Then we had a trailer featuring all in-game footage. Then we had Phil Harrison talking about a Minecraft reveal trailer. Then we had Sam Lake from Remedy Entertainment talking about Quantum Break. We had a D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die reveal trailer. Then we had Dave McCarthy from Microsoft Studios talking about Project Spark. Next up, we had Mark Whitten talking about Xbox Live with Smart Glass integration throughout games such as Rise, Son of Rome. Then we had another bit of Killer Instinct with the Mad Cat Stick announcement. We were told about Upload Studio, which had a video editor and a share suite. And then we got our Twitch integration for live streaming. Unlimited friends on your Xbox Live friends list. Then they announced that they'd be doing away with Microsoft Points and converting to local currency. And Xbox Live Gold game sharing in the house. Then we had Josh Bridge and Mike Jones from Capcom Vancouver talking about Dead Rising 3 with a live gameplay reveal and Smart Glass integration. Then we had John Mamai from CD Projekt Red, I could be butchering his name, talking about The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with a gameplay reveal trailer. Then we have Patrick Sutherland from EA and DICE talking about Battlefield 4. Phil Spencer came back talking about Below with a reveal trailer, Black Tusk with the unnamed teaser, which turned out to be Crackdown, which I think everybody knew at the time. Then we had a Halo reveal trailer, just called Halo at this point. It was not called Halo 5 Guardians just yet, and that was from Bonnie Ross at 343 Studios. So then the moment we were all waiting for. We got our release month of November 2013, still no firm date, with a $499 US price point, 429 pounds sterling. But that was $500 for the system and Kinect. They were still adamant about, Xbox will always come with the Kinect. They had said that. It will always come with it. And then for our one last thing, the crunch, Respawn Entertainment had their Titanfall reveal trailer, as well as a live gameplay reveal on stage. So, by the end of this conference, we got some games, we got a little bit more entertainment, and we got a price point. $500, the system plus the Kinect. You cannot get them separately. Moving on, later that evening, 6 p.m. Pacific, June 10th, 2013, was the Sony press conference at E3 2013. It opens up with Jack Tretton talking about PS Vita and PS3. We got a Last of Us trailer, the Puppeteer trailer, Rain trailer, Beyond Two Souls trailer, Gran Turismo 6 trailer, Batman Arkham Origins trailer, and a GTA 5 bundle for $299 was announced. Out comes Andrew House with a PS4 system reveal. We got this sleek-looking, sexy box that was stark comparison to what Microsoft had shown 2 weeks prior at their reveal event. It looked thin, it looked sleek, it looked like it was from the future, it looked cool as hell. And yes, this is my opinion. I own a PS4. I gladly purchased one day one. I pre-ordered it that day, like the day it became available for pre-order, I pre-ordered it. Xbox One to me always looked a little funky and old. So after the system reveal, we heard from Michael Linton, who is the CEO of Sony Entertainment and Sony Pictures, talking about Music Unlimited, new unique access to content, and original programming. Andrew House comes back out talking more about Music Unlimited and Video Unlimited being available day one on PS4. Redbox Instant by Verizon is coming soon to PS4. Live Event Viewer, which is pay-per-view, would be coming soon. And Flickster would be coming soon. Out comes Shuhei Yoshida, president of Worldwide Studios, talking about connections with gamers. New IP reveal was the Order 1886 with a new trailer. Killzone Shadowfall gameplay trailer, Drive Club trailer, Infamous Second Son trailer, Knack trailer. Killzone, Drive Club, and Knack will be launch titles. Drive Club clearly was not a launch title. Infamous would be Q1 2014. And then we got the Quantic Dream engine demo of The Dark Sorcerer, which turned out to just be a short film. Things they've done like that, like Korra, which has turned into a game, a few years later, so that was pretty cool. Adam Boyes comes out and introduces Supergiant Games, who gives us the Transistor reveal trailer, and tells us that indies can self-publish. Then we get an indie showcase with Don't Starve, Mercenary Kings, Octodad, Deadliest Catch, Secret Ponchos, Raised Dead, Outlast, Oddworld, New and Tasty, and Galaxy. We get more info about Diablo 3 with exclusive PlayStation-related items. We get a video message from Tetsuya Nomura from Square Enix talking about Final Fantasy 15, And that's where we got the new trailer for Final Fantasy 15, which included the Final Fantasy Versus 13 name change. We got a Kingdom Hearts 3 announcement trailer, Final Fantasy 14 coming to PS4. Up next was Assassin's Creed Black Flag with a live gameplay reveal on stage. Unfortunately, the demo froze, but that's okay. Those things happen in a live environment. Up next was Jonathan Morum with Watch Dogs live gameplay demo. Adam Boyes comes back out talking about exclusive Watch Dogs content on PS4. We got an NBA 2K in-engine demo with LeBron James. Elder Scrolls Online trailer. Mad Max revealed a trailer. Jack Tretton comes back out talking about PS4 supporting used games, which Microsoft had doubled down on again, oddly enough, saying, we don't support used games. He also tells us that you don't need to be online for disc-based games, no online check-ins, it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated in 24 hours. Basically telling Microsoft, you screwed up and we are taking all of your weird policies, doing the complete opposite. PlayStation 4 is for the gamers. Jack talks about PlayStation Plus and its immediate access to Drive Club PS Plus Edition, which didn't come out for another long while, and a new title every month for free, which wound up being expanded considerably to 2 titles for PS4, PS3, and Vita every month with the PlayStation Plus subscription. After talking at length about PlayStation Plus, Jack introduced a love child between Activision and Bungie, Destiny, with the world gameplay premiere. Andrew House comes out one more time talking about the PlayStation Cloud service is available in 2014, and he finally gives us what we've all been waiting for, especially after that Xbox conference earlier in the morning. PlayStation 4 will be $399 US, 349 pounds sterling, and be available in the holiday season, and no camera will be included. The PlayStation camera will be optional. He ends by saying, consumer trust and consumer ownership are central. So, that was E3 2013. These 2 console manufacturers had made very different claims. Xbox was an always-on console. Don Matrick had doubled down by saying that if you wanted an offline console, we have Xbox 360. PlayStation 4, however, could be played offline. You could play used games, share games with your friends, didn't matter. They wanted you to play games. It was very clear that they were watching Microsoft, and I still, to this day, say that they had a price point in mind. It could have been $500. They could have wanted to include that camera at launch, but they waited for Microsoft to have their event way earlier in the day. I mean, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12, 6. That was like 10 hours earlier. That's crazy. There is so much you could change in 10 hours if you just know that you need to have a 2-hour press conference or however long it was. So I still think that they changed their price point in response to Microsoft's price point for Xbox One, including the Kinect, and the general response throughout the day was, that sucks. With that said, however, Xbox One did outsell PlayStation worldwide for the holiday season, but the PlayStation 4 was not released in Japan just yet. That didn't happen until February of 2014. And Xbox One's launch in Japan, it sold 23,000 units only. 23,000. I come from New York City. That's like a town. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very small number for an entire country, an entire market. 23,000 units. The PlayStation 4 was launched February 22nd, 2014 in Japan, and it sold within its first 2 days of release, that first opening window, 322,083 consoles, according to Wikipedia. And I'll link that in the description. So, 23,000 as opposed to 322,000. There you go. So, after that happened, and after both consoles were released worldwide in all the markets, PlayStation 4 has outsold Xbox One to the point where Microsoft no longer releases those numbers. But, we're getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about E3 2014 now. So the consoles are out. We need games. That's what we need. And this happens every generation. Console comes out, not much to play in the beginning. And it's gotten worse as time has gone on, unfortunately. I mean, the Nintendo 64 launched with Super Mario 64, Shadows of the Empire, Pilot Wings. Like, it had a pretty solid launch lineup. And then after that, it kind of went downhill. But the consoles got better. The launch libraries got worse. But then as time went on, it got better and better. For E3 2014, I'm simply just going to talk about the games that were announced at each conference. So, Microsoft, as tradition shows, went first again. So at E3 2014 Xbox conference, we were shown Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Phantom Dust, debuted by my childhood games hero, Ken Lobb, The Division, Scalebound, Crackdown 3, Fable Legends, Sunset Overdrive, Assassin's Creed Unity, The Witcher 3, Forza Horizon 2, Evolve, Dragon Age Inquisition 2, Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition, Project Spark, Ori and the Blind Forest, Halo 5 and Master Chief Collection, Inside, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. That's kind of out of order, but those were all the games that were shown. Fast forward to later that evening to Sony's press conference for the PlayStation 4, and we were shown Metal Gear Solid 5 with the Nuclear trailer, Bloodborne's reveal trailer, more info about Project Morpheus, which was shown at Games Developers Conference earlier that year, Destiny, The Order 1886, Entwined, Infamous Second Son, and First Light, Little Big Planet 3, Far Cry 4, Dead Island 2, Let It Die. Did this ever come out? Abzu, No Man's Sky, the introduction of Sean Layden, Sony Computer Entertainment America's new president, YouTube integration, PlayStation TV, Mortal Kombat X, The Last of Us Remastered, Grand Theft Auto 5 on PlayStation 4, Arkham Knight, and the Uncharted 4 trailer. So in total, that is 17 games and 3 other announcements, which would be the introduction of Sean Layden, the YouTube integration, and the more information on Project Morpheus. Going into E3 2014, Microsoft had already begun backpedaling on its policies of always being online, no used games. It started to become more of a gaming machine and less, Microsoft's weird projection of a gaming machine, less about their mission to install themselves in your living room and giving you just a gaming machine for you to do what you want with. However, in May of 2014, just before E3, they announced that there would be a $399 Connect-free unit being sold, which put it in line with PlayStation 4's $399 price point, a direct competition. So going into E3, they really needed to sell the hell out of the Xbox One and tell you why you wanted it over the PlayStation 4. To me, they did not do this. The game reveals were not that impactful. We knew Halo 5 was coming. The Master Chief Collection was a really, really good idea, but that's kind of all they had. Phantom Dust was a weird CG trailer with a strange reveal. It wasn't a game I really knew about. I didn't own an original Xbox, but that wasn't the game that everybody spoke about from the original Xbox. Halo was. Go over to PlayStation's conference, and they gave us a lot of games with a lot of really cool announcements. They had a lead in the industry with, sales and figures and all that, and they kept it. It was amazing because with the PlayStation 3, it was a colossal failure in the beginning. It got a lot stronger as time went on, those last few years with Dark Souls and Final Fantasy 13. I don't really like that game, but it had a strong late life. It was strong later in life, the PlayStation 3. It had a terrible launch, stronger later in life with price cuts and feature cuts, taking out the PS2 backwards compatibility, all that sort of stuff. It got good at the end. PlayStation 4 had a super strong launch. Launch library wasn't really there, but huge adoption rate, and they kept it. They gave us what we wanted, more games with cool announcements in between with PlayStation VR, the YouTube, it was weird they didn't have YouTube off the jump, when the console launched, but hey, here it is. You wanted it, you got it. Twitch integration, it was there. Like, the console was just getting better and better and better, whereas Xbox felt like it was still struggling to catch up. So, that's E3 2014. Let's go to E3 2015, which became dubbed the E3 of Dreams because of Sony's conference, and we'll find out why. First, as always, we'll start off with Xbox's conference the morning of E3 2015. At Microsoft's press conference at E3 2015, we heard about Halo 5 Guardians, Recore, Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, the new Pro Controller, Fallout 4, EA Access, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, the Ford GT Supercar, Forza 6, Dark Souls 3, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Gigantic, Tacoma, Ashen, Beyond Eyes, Cuphead, Ion, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Rare Replay, Sea of Thieves, Fable Legends, now canceled, HoloLens, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and Gears of War 4. So that's 20 game reveals or trailers plus 5 other announcements. The Xbox 360 backwards compatibility announcement was a huge surprise. No one saw that coming, especially considering that backwards compatibility was not in it from the start. No one ever spoke about it, and it's just kind of become accepted that you're not going to have backwards compatibility. Maybe this was done in an attempt to compete with PlayStation Now, which was Sony's streaming service to play PlayStation 3 games on other devices. Who knows? But it was a really nice touch. And the way they're doing it is pretty remarkable. You put in an Xbox 360 disc, and it installs an emulator. Like, it takes the game, installs an emulator wrapper around it, and then that gets saved to your console. Really, really neat stuff. I would love to see how they did it, like inside the console, like what's actually going on, and how they developed this emulator, because Xbox 360 emulation, not to talk about nefarious stuff, but it sucks. That's not to discredit anybody working on that, outside, but like, it's not that great, and it's slow and it's chuggy, but they make it work, and it works really well. The whole Xbox 360 library is not compatible with it, but what is compatible is really good. And they even spoke about multi-disc games like Lost Odyssey, one of my favorite games. maybe working in the future. So hopefully we see more from that. So later that day, we got Sony's press conference for the PlayStation 4 at E3 2015, the E3 of dreams, and here's why. At this conference, we saw The Last Guardian, Horizon Zero Dawn, Hitman, Street Fighter V, No Man's Sky, Dreams, Firewatch, Destiny the Taken King, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, World of Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Devolver Digital's new lineup, Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, Batman Arkham Knight, Spotify integration, PlayStation View integration, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Until Dawn, Disney Infinity 3.0 with new Star Wars content, Star Wars Battlefront, and Uncharted 4. We got 19 games and 2 other announcements. That's 1 less game and 3 less announcements than Xbox's conference. But the quality of announcements we got from Sony was jaw-dropping. I was in awe of this company. Last Guardian was originally revealed in like 2005 or 2006. It was supposed to be on PlayStation 3, went completely dormant. No one knew what was happening with it. The producers and Sony kept saying it's in development, you'll get it eventually. Everybody thought it was canceled, and Sony just didn't want to say anything. But here we go, The Last Guardian, and it's supposed to come out this year, supposedly. I'm fully banking on a delay, but who knows? Maybe we'll actually get it. Maybe they'll just drop it this year, right? We were trolled earlier in the year when they announced Final Fantasy VII on PS4. It was just the PS1 Classics version. It was actually the Steam version ported over to PS4. So when Adam Boyce came out and that live stream, showed up behind him and he was talking about, there was this huge game back in the day that you guys have wanted to hear about from again, and here it is. It's like, oh yeah, here we go, another Final Fantasy VII Steam port, trailer. And then they tell us, nope, we're remaking the game. The most popular RPG of all time that people have wanted a remake for since the PlayStation 2, especially since the PlayStation 3 when we got that tech demo in 2005, I think, and it was just, the bombing run intro remade with the PlayStation 3 engine. Everybody thought that it was getting remade, and they said, no, it's not happening, we're never going to do it. And then here it is. I am convinced that they were porting over the Steam version to PS4 just to keep under wraps that they were hiring people to work on something related to Final Fantasy VII. Because those things always come out. Like somebody updates their LinkedIn, somebody, leaks something like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy this. And then they just give us the Steam version and then say nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like a cover up, and it was smart. It was so smart. So I'm just really glad they did it. Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII Remake, a lot of indie titles, the new Uncharted 4 trailer, and the demo actually, crapped out on stage, which was kind of funny. And there's actually a trophy hidden in that game where if you just stand in that spot in the game, you can do this right now, stand in that spot, I forget the area that it's in, stand in that spot, and you stand in that spot for like 2 minutes, you get a trophy. I think it's called Stage Fright. But we also got Shenmue 3, which was a game on Dreamcast and Xbox that everybody has wanted, the third and final iteration of this story, hopefully final, iteration of this story, the final chapter, and we got it. And it was kickstarted that day. I think it took less than 24 hours for the Kickstarter to get funded. And that was unreal. Sony coming out on stage saying, here's a Kickstarter, help us fund it. That is unprecedented. Sure, you have game developers and studios talking about Kickstarters, and you may see a tweet from Shuhei Yoshida talking about oh, I backed this, you guys should check it out. But never, when millions of eyes are on E3 from both fans, the industry, industry execs, investors, to talk about a Kickstarter and help them launch it on stage, unbelievable, truly incredible. And Sony really, they got it. They really understood what was happening in gaming. They had this hold on it, and they just keep going. They just are relentless with the fan service for this console. And it's not just that they're remaking old games or, bringing out new chapters of games. We have had some incredible new titles on this console. They just keep going, and it's unbelievable. And now that we're getting into E3 2016, they are in a risky position because this year has been filled with rumors of iterative consoles. And what I mean by that is that we may be getting a PlayStation 4K, a model change like a PS4 Slim or something, that's to be expected at this point. That's happened since the PlayStation 1. Actually, since the Super Nintendo, there was a second version of Super Nintendo that came out around the launch of the N64 for $89, something like that. So system revisions have always been around, but an upgraded version of a current generation console has never been done before. So they're in a really risky position. I'm so interested to see how they market this and how they sell this. And the closer we get to E3, the more I'm thinking that they may not even talk about it. They may just talk about PSVR and new games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 15 and maybe what's coming out of Naughty Dog, maybe a new Crash Bandicoot, hopefully. But I'm starting to think that they may hold off and save it for PlayStation Experience or something like that. Like, let PSVR come out and then we'll talk about the 4K. Microsoft is in even more of a precarious position because they're no longer reporting console sales. So they kind of have nothing to lose at this point. They could release a 4K version of their console or something with, Oculus integration and be perfectly fine because their adoption rate is not that great at this point. They are lagging very far behind. That's not to say the console isn't a success. I'd have to imagine they're making money off of it at this point, but they are in a better position to release a new version than Sony is, because Sony has built up this insane goodwill with its customer base, myself included, and releasing a new iteration, an upgraded PlayStation 4 with new tech specs is risky, because then you risk splitting the consumer base. And what I mean by that is that you have all these original PlayStation 4 adopters, people who have bought it from, November 2013 up until June 2016. You have all those people, and there are plenty of people still buying PS4s today. So you have those people. But then when you release the PlayStation 4K, you have this other user base who has bought a quote-unquote better version of your console, and now you're leaving those 40 million or whatever the number was. Is it 40 million? Yeah. Now, as of March 31st, 2016, it's 40 million units sold, shipped. I don't know if that's through customers, but 40 million consoles are now inferior to this version. And there have been reports of Sony calls and people saying that Sony said that if we want to develop a game for PlayStation 4K, or PlayStation 4 Neo as it's being called now, we also have to develop a version for PlayStation 4. It has to have, the same amount of content. It's risky. It's so risky. And there's rumor that deep down might be a PS4 Neo exclusive, and we haven't seen that game since it was originally revealed. I think the last time we saw that was TGS 2014 or 2013 maybe. It's so tough. It's so tough to see, and I'm so excited to see what Sony does. I've been looking forward to this E3 ever since E3 2015. And now that the Neo and the 4K rumors are out there, it's going to be fun. Sony could risk, they could be taking such a huge gamble on this, and they could lose. They could lose big. And I just hope they have the funds stockpiled to withstand the storm here. I don't really know what to expect from Microsoft if I had to make predictions. Rare is one of their really big studios, not really big, but like it's a big name studio that they own that they haven't really been utilizing. So hopefully Sea of Thieves has a really good demo on stage and really sells that game to us, because don't get me wrong, while the ex-Rare folks may be at Playtonic Games making Yooka-Laylee, which a new trailer just came out for today, Rare still has a Rare charm. And I would hope to see Microsoft finally starting to treat Rare right, because in the past, all they were making were Kinect games and Viva Pinata, which is very good, but that's all they were relegated to. They were relegated to being a Kinect-based studio, and that sucks, because the Kinect, as cool of a peripheral as it is, that's not why you become a game developer, right? Like, that's not moving consoles. Kinect has never moved consoles. It's proven to be not something that moves consoles. They now don't sell it with the console. So now that Rare is back in the driver's seat of creating a full-fledged title, I really hope they could do a good job on it. Sony, I really hope we get a Last Guardian firm release date. We know that No Man's Sky has been delayed until August, I believe. Horizon Zero Dawn just got delayed to February or March 1st, 2017, or February 28th, 2017. I saw literally two different things today. So yeah, their big new titles have gotten delayed. No Man's Sky has been delayed quite a few times, I believe. So yeah, it's an interesting E3. So I'm hoping that we just see stuff that we're not expecting. You know what I mean? Like new stuff, more new stuff, just with release dates on stuff that we're expecting. That's kind of all I'm hoping for out of Sony. And if they do decide to talk about the PS4K or the PS4 Neo, whatever the hell they're calling it, I just want to see them try to sell this thing. I really do. I'm really interested. I don't know if I would buy it day one. I would, obviously trade in my PS4. So we will have to see. I'm very excited for E3 2016. What I would like to do going forward, I originally wanted to do a video series talking about the story so far. It's something like this, but way more in depth, and do a video for 2012 to 2013, starting with the rumors up until launch day 2013. And then do another one for 2014, another one for 2015, and then after this year wraps up, we'll do one for 2016. So I still may do that. But yeah, God, I'm so excited for E3. Just seeing the ukulele trailer today and the delay for Horizon Zero Dawn, and the new trailer for Final Fantasy XII HD. I don't like that game at all, but it's just cool to see. I'm just so excited for E3. It's definitely E3 season. I'm excited it's here. It's just a week away, and I literally have tears in my eyes talking about this right now. I watched the E3 2015 presser for Sony just before recording this video, and the minute it started and they showed Last Guardian, I had tears in my eyes, goosebumps, and I felt like I was back at home in New York watching that press conference from the Game Trailers feed. And now that they're easy allies, I'll be watching it through them again. It was just such an exciting time, and I am so excited for E3 2016. I know I've been talking in circles for a while, but yeah. So I hope this was informative to you. If you had missed the past few E3s, I didn't cover GDC or PlayStation Experience. I just wanted to focus on E3 because it's June and it's E3 time. So I hope this has been informative to you. Feel free to discuss it in the comments. I love E3, obviously. I always want to talk about it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/SweetJohnnyCage. Be sure to check out my new website, SweetJohnnyCage.com. Twitch channels, twitch.tv/SweetJohnnyCage. I'm on Twitter @SJCage, and Facebook.com/SweetJohnnyCage. All right, everybody. Obviously, I'm Sweet Johnny Cage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.